Family of 5 here in Avon, they've been forced to pretty much throw out everything they own. All of their belongings, from their clothes, their toys, even their beds, has been considered contaminated because of black mold. And so on top of having to deal with all of the things to get rid of that black mold and make sure their home is safe again, now they're worried about where they're going to sleep each night.
We were left completely and utterly high and dry.
Adrienne DiFiore, her husband, their 3 children, and their dog were forced out of their home in Avon in May. After suffering from a wide range of medical issues, they decided to do an air quality test on their home. After the test, they were told their house was toxic and filled with black mold, and they needed to evacuate immediately.
All that black all across all up there.
They called me at lunch and said, you can't go back to the home. What you have is what you have on you, and you need to go to a hotel and stay.
The DiFiores lived in a hotel for a week, and insurance covered their stay. However, that hotel room quickly became too small.
We asked insurance, we said, look, we need to get into a home where we have a little bit more space. We were crammed into a hotel with 5 of us and a dog, and they said, okay, find a house, we'll work through it together.
They found an Airbnb and have been living there for about a month. However, on Friday, their insurance company, Erie Insurance Group, emailed them and told them they would no longer pay for their housing. They had to be out of the home they were staying in just 2 days.
We had a little bit of a breakdown. You know, trying to put a roof over 3 kids' heads, 5 of us, that's hard for anybody to take in or do. We're already out so much financially.
Left with an unsafe home.
You'll see all the black patterning up there in the corners, all through the mold coming down.
And nowhere to stay. Adrienne says she considered putting up tents in her backyard. Luckily, a friend came through and offered to take her family in.
One of our dear friends said, absolutely not, you're not living in a tent with 3 kids. It's not happening. You're moving in with us.
A Reno man is speaking out over unsanitary living conditions at his apartment complex after going years without help. I have more on how he's now demanding a resolution after he says him and his young son are getting sick.
We have no voice, you know, and I'm just hoping to get into safe housing.
For the last 6 years, Shay Slove has been living in the Silver Terrace apartments in Reno, but it wasn't until 2021 that his problems began.
I noticed leaks all over my house, so I started inspecting, and that's when I found like black mold all in the walls, behind my cabinets.
According to Slove, management came in to do a remodel shortly after that. And after seeing the mold themselves, he said they still didn't help.
Instead of cleaning the black mold, they just hung everything else back over it and said, if we haven't died, you guys will be okay.
Before seeing the mold, Slove felt himself getting sick, but never thought it could be coming from his apartment. He says maybe if it was just himself, he wouldn't speak up, but he has a 9-year-old son to worry about.
He's just a great kid. I mean, me and him are absolute best friends. We are both really big into the bike and the biking community in Reno, so we do like the bike night Reno. Go to the bike parks all the time. You know, just we're best friends. We're always together.
When his son started getting sick, Slove says he took extreme measures to remove the 2 of them from their apartment, even resorting to sleeping in tents outside or sleeping in shelters.
I try to shield him from as much of it as I can, you know.
After 3 long years, management at the Silver Terrace finally moved Slove and his son into a new apartment just for them to discover mold once again in the new unit.
The exact same spot that it was in the last apartment, so you think they would have checked and vetted this apartment pretty good, knowing the trouble I made for the past 3 years, but no, it's in the exact same spots.
Not getting the help he needed from the apartment complex, Slove tried multiple other avenues.
Did the city ever respond to you?
No, they were just kind of running me in circles, just to this place and code enforcement. Code enforcement wouldn't do nothing. They would send me to another area, and then it's just a dog chasing its tail. I wouldn't get nowhere. And after doing this for 3 years, with agency after agency and organization after organization, you kind of almost give up hope, but with a kid, I can't.
Now, Slove finds himself at the end of his rope.
I know I'm just one small voice, but I hope this gets enough attention to where other complexes start to get checked out, because there's a lot of people that live in these situations that won't speak up on it because they're scared, they don't want to get kicked out, and they're stuck. You know, so some people need to just go and check and investigate these apartments to see on their own.
I reached out to Silver Terrace and code enforcement, but have yet to hear back. To help get Slove into safe housing, there's a GoFundMe on this story at colotv.com.
An invisible menace threatening homes in Southwest Florida.
I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Almost a month after Hurricane Irma, you could be living with a health hazard and not even know it. Even if you only had a small amount of flooding in your home, toxic mold could be growing right now in your walls or floors.
NBC2 investigator Rachel Polanski shows you the right steps to get rid of the mold before it's too late.
That's right. Now, mold growth is extremely common after hurricanes, and our warm, humid climate here in Florida acts almost like a petri dish for growth. Piles of furniture sit curbside.
Every room had water in it.
All along Shady River Lane in Buckingham.
It was coming in the doors. It was coming in everywhere.
Where dozens of residents, like Betsy Burnett,
In here, it was up about there.
ripped out their walls and tossed their belongings. When did you start thinking about mold?
Immediately.
To prevent mold growth.
I know that drywall just holds moisture, and I know that if I don't rip it out, the mold is just going to go up the wall. So the quicker you get it out, the quicker you get the dryers and the fans and the dehumidifiers out here, the better off you are.
ASAP. Get on it ASAP.
And mold expert Steve Bray confirms it's important to eliminate mold as quickly as possible.
Mold can start forming in 48 to 72 hours.
But big warning here, don't try to do it yourself.
It is dangerous and it can be a health risk.
There are many mold myths out there, like using bleach as a mold killer.
No, they cannot bleach it. They should not bleach it.
Bray says most of these home remedies won't work.
Using bleach as a corrosive, it'll burn mold. It will not go away. It will begin to multiply as a reactor.
So his best advice is call an expert.
They will find out the mold levels and what types. They will do a test. They will do a swab test and an air quality test.
That's what Betsy Burnett did.
She knew exactly where to cut the drywall.
And while she still has more cleanup to do, she's relieved to find her home mold-free.
If they got mold growing, they need to call somebody right away because it's not easy to get rid of once it starts.
Now, the major health concerns involving mold include irritation or damage to your respiratory tract. Hidden mold is also very common in Florida. You can hire a tester to check your air quality, but it will cost you about $500. We have more information on mold solutions under news links at NBC-2.com. For the NBC2 investigators, I'm Rachel Polanski.
My family live here in 188 West. They due to the mold condition in this apartment since 2009. Catherine, the lawyer, told my mother to move out because Orlando could fix and repair the mold. But since November 2021, they're still in the motel. Nothing has been repaired because the Vasco, the management, said he has no money to repair my mother, and she's still in the motel because of the condition of this apartment. They cannot live in.
Estoy mal porque yo quiero regresar a mi apartamento y él no me quiere arreglar mi
She said that
apartamento.
she feel bad. They feel bad because she knows that the management, Vasco, doesn't want to repair their apartment so she could come back to the apartment to live.
Quiero regresar para atrás a mi
Yes,
apartamento
we
porque yo
all
lo necesito.
want to move back to the apartment. We need the
Lo más
apartment
antes posible.
as soon as possible.
Estos meses han sido bien duros para nosotros y terrible porque yo no puedo hacer las cosas que yo hacía.
We feel so horrible
No
because
puedo ni dormir.
she can't rest, she can't do much because it's so
Ni
difficult.
tampoco puedo comer.
And she can't eat much
Problemas
because she has so much health condition.
por la culpa de él.
Because of the Vasco management, he just keep refusing to fix the apartment.
Yo estoy sufriendo mucho de
She said
depresión. Yo no
she
puedo ni
has
dormir.
suffering a lot because of the depression that she has.
A ver, tengo mucha fe en Dios que nosotros vamos a
I
salir
have
adelante.
a lot of faith in
Porque yo
God because
creo
I
en
know
mi
God,
Dios.
and I believe
Todo
in my
lo que-
God, and He's gonna work and do everything for me.